Hi everybody and welcome to Straight Talks, day 2, a review of the Magic Millions here at Gold Coast, brought to you by our sponsors, Inglis and Darley. Tim Rowe joins me as per usual, Tim, and another very solid day of trade. Things look very positive. There's plenty of $1 million lots going around, and the big boys, Yulong, Coolmore, Newgate, all got involved.
Yeah, status quo, I guess you'd say. Bren, as the last few years, at the top of the market, it's those big players, all searching the big colts or the fillies that are unlikely to go back through the market, at the end of their racing career, they're bought to, race and then join, broodmare bands. So at the top, very, very strong.
Yeah, and it's highlighted today by an Extreme Choice colt bought by Yulong, and probably not surprising given the success they had with Devil Knight last year that they sort of went back to that formula. Yeah, having seen that also when they win win Blue Diamond and effectively, Minty's stallion career, it's a formula they were happy to, Yushin Zhang and the team were happy to reprise.
And, clearly Yulong's not the only one stay inside who started promising a son of Extreme Choice. Is that sideline, and because there's so few of those, Extreme Choices full stop, but colts out there, anything that, well put together and good pedigree, the sisters were very well performed bred by Kingstar and Matthew Sandblom. They're going to be highly sought after, and James Harron was, the big names were on those horses. Yeah, like him.
Yeah, and just sort of clicking back to the averages and stuff like that, the average is around about 290,000 at the moment. Median's 200,000. The gross is 93 million. That's right, 93.5 million, and a very good clearance rate of 83%. We chatted with Barry Bowditch after the day's play, but we'll get on him in a minute. But I think through that, they'd be pretty happy. And the progeny of Snitzel, the late great Snitzel, continues to be highly in demand. His best colts just fetching really strong prices. I'm just having a click here. Look at his averages. He's averaging. The stats aren't helping me out at the moment. He's averaging a very decent amount at the moment. There's certainly plenty of enthusiasm there for with a couple of more crops to come.
Well, he's averaging nearly 737,000. He's grossed, 9.5 million so far, and we know there's a few more to come, in the next couple of days. As we'll hear from Paul Messara in a minute, who sold one for 1.5 million at Arrowfield. He's just not trailing off. They're still performing year in, year out. His crops, despite, he's no longer with us, but, was aging. Sometimes we see with stallions, they trail off at the end of their career, but Snitzel didn't, Reduced Choice didn't, to a large degree. So, the buyers got a lot of confidence to keep going there.
Yeah, and here's what Paul Messara had to say about having to let go of a colt that they probably wouldn't have minded keeping, but in a commercial market, that's the reality. They have to pay.
You know how tough it is to acquire these stallions, between the colt syndicates like Coolmore. How tough is it then to go, what, maybe we should keep a horse like him, or how do you play that, I guess? I know you have bought into or stayed in quite a few over the farms, but...
Yeah, we have. Obviously, we're a commercial farm, so the top lots is where you make all your money. It makes up for a lot of the stuff at the bottom that, doesn't really pay its way. So we're not in really a position whereby we can hold on to those horses. I'd certainly love to. And I think that's, at the end of the day, that'd be the best end game you could have, where you got to keep a few of those colts that you really wanted to. So at the moment, obviously not in the position to do that. But he's a great prospect colt we sold today. I think as good as we've sold for a long time.
And that's the thing. His performance hasn't trailed off, despite he was getting on a bit. These crops are older, but his performance is centre holding true.
No, absolutely, and not unlike Reduced Choice, who had the Autumn Sun in his last crop. So they can certainly do it, these great stallions, and there's no doubt that horse is going to be one we watch on the TV, and maybe wishing one day that we didn't sell him. But good luck to Coolmore and the team. They put their hand up, and he's going to a good home.
The following segment is brought to you by Darley. When the spring carnival wrapped up, the picture was clear. Darley stallions topped the table with 42 stakes wins, well ahead of imported horses and those bred in New Zealand. Almost 30 victories were delivered by client-bred runners, showing strength from early 2-year-olds to elite Group 1 races. Consistency, depth and performance when it mattered most. By Darley. You just hear from Paul Messara there, Tim, and it was one of those days where across the board there was a lot of positive results. First season sires, we spoke about this yesterday. They have been very popular throughout. The last few years here, they're always popular. In this case, good results for the likes of Animo, Jacquino's performed well. There's a host of others that have performed well as well. I think those who, and I guess it's not necessarily taking a punt, but who opted to go for those first season sires a few seasons ago, take their mares too, and bring their first lots of yearlings here, seem to be doing pretty well out of it.
Well, as we said, Animo was a pretty safe bet that, given he was just such a phenomenal racehorse, that if you produce anything, remotely nice types, they're going to sell well. And we saw with Lime Country Thoroughbreds, Greg and Joe Griffin, so they pinhooked one with their clients today, $340,000 they paid as a weanling, and returned back and got $800,000 today. Although, as Joe says, it's not always the case, but in this example, they got very well paid for their, well thought out gamble.
Yeah, and I think that what that does is gives those people who are coming here looking for those horses, or are selling those horses, that the confidence that when they go back to the win and sales this year, that are buying those horses, whether they be by first season size or by young emerging size like Animo, they can, they will get the right results if they get the right thing. It doesn't always work out that way, as Joe Griffin explained.
If you do put your neck on the line, stumping up buying weanlings, that for it looks easy when you results like this, but it can go the other way too.
Yeah, it can go the other way, as was proven last year with another chestnut filly we paid $360 for, and we are now racing. So with horses like that and the one last year, I'm always happy to take the punt on really exceptional fillies. This one, I had one trainer say to me, very good trainer from Randwick, he said, if it looks like that, moves like that, and is bred like that, if it can't run, the stallion's no good. So I think on top of the Animo factor, she was just a star and just improved. And I'll show you boys this because I was just showing these guys. 46 X-ray hits. Our highest ever has been 33. So never has anything got close to that level on X-rays anyway.
When did you get confident? I was talking to people the other day, probably on the Sunday, that talking about Animos, obviously, and your filly kept getting thrown up as that is a great representation of stallion. Really nice filly.
Look, we're lucky we've got a couple of owners who have breeding rights in the stallion. So we've had some goals on the farm that we're very confident with, and the types and that sort of thing. But this filly is just extra special. So, we sell. If I could have afforded to keep a piece of this filly as she was in the chute, I'm going to give her a little pat. And I was like, oh, yeah. So
how have you, we're a day and a half, well, not a day and a half, but close, yesterday and early today, how have you found it?
We found it sticky on the under 200s. We've sold, obviously we had a colt go through for $650 this morning. The good horses, good athletic horses are selling well. I think it's like any year, but I think there's a bigger gap in the under 200s, which gives me a little pause for some of the sales going forward. But the money at the top, as always, is English.
That under 200, that's, traditionally, I guess, syndicators and trainers selling 10%.
I think the syndicators and trainers joining forces and buying better horses in a way that they haven't previously on a larger scale. And that's affecting that bottom end where a lot of the syndicators might have picked something up there. They're batting up with trainers and maybe going to the 400 horse.
The following segment is brought to you by Inglis. The English Premier Yearling Sale catalogue is now available online. From March 1st to 3rd, Oaklands Junction in Melbourne will once again serve as the focal point of the bloodstock world, with 806 yearlings catalogued across 3 days of selling. This year's catalogue features progeny from 110 individual stallions. The Premier Sale has consistently produced racetrack success. Graduates include the past 3 winners of the Everest offered at a public auction, Ballinipatina, Think About It and Nature Strip, as well as 34 Group 1 winners since 2018, with 16 purchased for $100,000 or less. English Premier Yearling Sale runs at March 1 to 3 at Oaklands Junction in Melbourne. To view the catalogue, visit english.com.au. I think one of the sort of themes that's developed over the first couple of days, Tim, is probably the breadth of buyers, the breadth of vendors doing well, the variety of other things that there seems to be a good spread across the board of people doing well out of this sale.
Yeah, for sure. There's good on both sides, vendors and buyers as well. Long-term graduate results speak for themselves, but without being negative, and it's just theme of the mark over the last few years. The lower end is you heard from Joe Griffin there about the bottom, under 200,000. Those syndicators finding it easier to sell the more expensive horses. So they're going, you know what, I'd rather syndicate 50% of a $400,000 horse than 100% of a $200,000 horse. Very nice horses, but it's just for whatever reason, the people that got money to invest in racehorses want to go for those better credentialed ones with the bigger stables, which are probably harming the diversity of the, and the smaller breeders get hurt most by that. But that's, that'll be interesting. We'll play out throughout the whole year, as Joe Griffin said. So we'll find out. Be able to assess that more in April.
And Tim, you caught up with Barry Bowditch after the second day here and had a chat with him about how he felt things progressed.
Barry seemed pretty strong day again, certainly at the top with multiple $1 million lots and Extreme Choice colt to Yulong topping the day.
Yeah, a very, very strong day's trade. I thought it felt really deep and genuine and diverse and fun, and it had a lot of vibe to it. I thought it was what we like to create here at Magic Millions. It was a busy day. It had a bit of everything, but all in all, we're delighted with how today went.
Below the top lots and those familiar names, as we know, how did you see the sort of middle to lower end of the market over the past 2 days?
Well, I think we're at a clearance rate of 83%, so it's holding together reasonably well. It's increased, 5% from this time yesterday. That's fantastic. I think there's enough trade and there's solid trade being done under the median. I think the median's holding pretty solid at 200, and that seems to be the number here. And we're thinking that we're tracking on pretty well through that middle end.
Hopefully, for your sake, it bodes well for the next couple of days, and seems to be some high-profile horses to go through tomorrow.
Absolutely, I think the feel is that the sale continues to build momentum. I think today was stronger than yesterday. I think when you look at today's sale, it would have averaged on its own over $300,000, which is a great effort. For the 240 lots we offered. And I think tomorrow will build upon itself again with any luck.
Huge to hear you from Barry there, Tim. And just to sort of sum up, looking forward to tomorrow, there seems to be a lot of lots on the top list. Like a lot of lots they're looking at. And a lot of I'm Invincibles. And a fair few Schnitzels. We can expect those big stallions to be to the fore again. And history tells us that the big stallions do well at these big sales, especially the colts, to be high demand. And we could probably expect again there'll be another very strong day's trade.
Well, the Snitzel, Madam Andre, that's fillies, but, very well bred. That's closely related to Anders. There's a Wooden Basset out of Miss Q. There's been good raps on the Extreme Choice out of Miss X Factor for quite some time. Yeah, and obviously the I'm Invincible out of Mumbai Rock. She's, I guess, Mumbai Rock's class is a blue hen. She's thrown multiple stakes winners. Will be very well sought after, providing the fence betted well, but I'm sure they wouldn't have brought the horse here if it wasn't going to.
And that famous sire power continues here on the Gold Coast. Thanks for joining us for our day 2 review. We'll be back again for day 3. Send us an email at editor@straight.com.au to let us know if there's anything you want us to chat about, or anyone you think we should be following up with. And we're looking forward to catching up with you tomorrow. Thanks to Inglis and Darley for the sponsorship, and we'll talk to you then.